It's Friday, the 14th of October, 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 big stories today in 5 minutes. Let's jump into story number 1. Forget the long queues, forget the lost luggage, the threat of industrial action, and the rest of the bad news. Qantas's shares are back, jumping 9% yesterday.
That's right. That was on the back of an upbeat quarterly update that forecast half-year pre-tax profits to be up to $1.3 billion. Now, that's the first time it's been profitable since 2020, and it comes after a cumulative loss of $7 billion during COVID. Quite incredible. Qantas said travel demand was far outpacing higher fuel costs and inflation, but still needs to keep those fares high so it can cover those costs. CEO Alan Joyce said service levels were now approaching pre-COVID standards. In any case, people are obviously still using the national carrier given that profit level, and notwithstanding the stuff-ups of recent months, Qantas's revenue from business customers is back over 100% of pre-COVID levels. And when it comes to the leisure market, it's at 130%. Now this month, its on-time performance is at 75%, much better than what it was. And Qantas, which has been in a fight with unions and workers seemingly for months, hopes that a New Year deal of a 2-year wage freeze and a 3% increase after that will be enough to get through, and we'll have peace in our time, hopefully.
All right, story number 2, Sean. Everybody loves a tax cut. And Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers yesterday said Stage 3 tax cuts legislated to begin in the middle of 2024 will not be altered in the mini budget in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it just looks like Prime Minister Anthony Albanese stepped in and said, don't touch any of the tax cuts, hands off. Now, of course, that comes after intense publicity around the potential to repeal the legislated tax cuts. They kick in the middle of 2024. Dr. Chalmers says he's more interested in finding short-term solutions to drive down inflation, and the government had more pressing priorities than changing the Stage 3 tax cuts. He said the government will trim waste and rorts in the budget, but he also refused to rule out introducing tighter gas controls to ease the cost of energy on Australian consumers.
Sean, story number 3, I love OSCO, which is that the payment system that you use through your bank that actually lets you pay a bill or transfer money pretty much in real time. If you tried to make a payment at some point over the last 24 hours, chances are it might not have gone through.
That's right. The Reserve Bank's payment system failed. It was actually between 9:30 and midnight on Wednesday night. The central bank tweeted yesterday saying it had experienced an internal system engineering issue. It had been contained. It wasn't a cyber breach. I want to make that clear. It affected the OSCO system, as you said. You see that name on your bank statements sometimes. It's when you basically transfer through an app or through a bank account in real time. It's a very, very handy process. And so for it to go down would have disrupted many people, I'd imagine.
Yeah, sure would. All right, story number 4, Sean. The numbers in this story are huge. The federal government claims that the crippling visa backlog is easing with more than 1 million applications to enter Australia processed since June.
Incredible how many people want to get into Australia at the moment. There are now about 880,000 people still waiting for their visas to be processed. Immigration Minister Andrew Giles yesterday promised new policy changes to streamline reviews, adding that more than 1.35 million visas for students, temporary skilled workers and visitors have been processed since June 1. All up, about 2.2 million visa applications have been received since that date. That's about 500,000 up from a year ago. Michael, it just feels like things are starting to get back to normal.
It kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Story number 5, Sean, pretty serious one for us to finish on, and it kind of sets out what global politics is going to look like for the coming years. US President Joe Biden declared yesterday that the overwhelming challenge for the United States in the future will be outcompeting China and restraining Russia while focusing on restoring a damaged democracy at home.
In his 48-page national security strategy, which every new administration is required to issue, Mr. Biden made clear that over the long term, he's more worried about China's moves to layer authoritarian governance with a revisionist foreign policy than he was about a declining, battered Russia. That's according to the New York Times. China is the only country with both the intent to reshape the international order and, increasingly, the economic, diplomatic, military and technological power to do so. That's what the president wrote.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 14th of October, 2022. Remember to hit follow and don't forget to check out our new podcast, How Do They Afford That? Featuring Canna Campbell, the founder of Sugar Mama TV, all about making your money work a little bit harder for you. There is a new episode out at the moment, What to Do When You're a Saver But Your Partner is a Spender. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast Five by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.